Greetings, beloved. This is Rock Newman, and you are about to see another version of the Rock Newman Show 2.0. Today is what is going to be, we're going to have for the next several Wednesdays, Wellness Wednesday. What this is leading to is going to be a spectacular health fair event in Washington, D.C. on September the 16th, starting at 10 a.m. at Union Temple Baptist Church. There is going to be a health fair, disease-free in 23, all natural health fair and seminar. And that will be free to one and all. And I'll tell you something, you can get tickets at Eventbrite. Just look at the poster here. Go to eventbrite.com. One of the most Afrocentric churches in the world, Union Temple Baptist Church, once again, is hosting the Minister of Wellness, Nathaniel Jordan. He really is coming off of an event that was March the 18th that was extraordinarily well attended with some real medical success stories. At that time, Howard University had participated. We had several other health practitioners, and it was really a great event for everyone. The testimonies that came out of March the 18th were really, really uplifting and powerful. And we want to thank Nathaniel Jordan once again for bringing his expertise. Let me tell you a little bit about Nathaniel Jordan, if you haven't already been following him. This young man has the absolute perfect moniker, the perfect title, the Minister of Wellness. This brother deals with issues, problems, medical maladies across the spectrum, whether it is a headache or a toe ache and everything in between, heartache, high blood pressure. And today, he wants to speak to us about the silent killer. If there is something that is going on in our lives and in our community that has the legitimate call of being the silent killer, where we want to turn up the volume, we don't want that to be silent anymore. It is killing millions of Black folks throughout this land. We hear about the spate of shootings that just happened yesterday, July the 4th. But what we don't hear about is the many people that could have died from some of what they were consuming yesterday, not from the bullet of a gun. Many of us are walking around. I discovered that I had high blood. I'm a testimony that I had high blood pressure. And Nathaniel Jordan had the wisdom to say on this first series of Wellness Wednesdays that we're going to do, let's turn up the volume on the silent killer. Nathaniel Jordan, welcome to the Rock Newman Show 2.0, the Minister of Wellness. And I'm going to ask you to take the floor to talk about this subject, the silent killer.
Well, thank you as always, Brother Rock. It's always an honor to be on your show, and it's an honor to be headed towards another big time health fair in Washington, D.C. And family, I want to ask everyone tuning in now and that's coming on after the fact to please like and share this video. Like and share this video. Me and Brother Rock were lamenting earlier about how we're so prone to drama and so prone to other distractions. Well, this is the leading killer of our people that we're discussing here, and that is high blood pressure. High blood pressure is by far most of our people. High blood pressure has become so prevalent in the Black community that it is considered normal. It is considered normal. I mean, we're popping blood pressure pills like candy. And Brother Rock is one of the very few that I know who has had the courage to turn down blood pressure drugs. Usually most people, to make themselves feel better about taking a drug for something they know they shouldn't have, they'll just say, well, minister, I'm just taking a little bit. Well, I'm here to tell you that even a little bit of those blood pressure drugs can be toxic to your organs. There's no such thing as a prescription drug that is not toxic. And high blood pressure drugs are not treating the root cause, they are treating the symptom. Big Pharma is trying to allow people to live unnaturally without suffering the consequences of their actions, and that is not right. And eventually an implosion is going to happen, meaning that if you look at some of the side effects of blood pressure drugs, one of the side effects of high blood pressure drugs is stroke. One of the side effects of high blood pressure drugs is damage to your heart. So you're sitting here trying to mask symptoms of refusing to change. You think you can bypass the biological laws of cause and effect. Well, I'm going to keep eating my cheeseburgers and fried fish and hot dogs. I'm going to just take a blood pressure drug. Well, eventually, no, the pressure on the blood vessel walls is going to cause an implosion, and you're going to end up still having a heart attack or stroke. No one lives longer taking blood pressure drugs. You're not going to live longer. If you don't address the root cause, then you're still going to end up dying from a heart attack or a stroke. So once again, we have a system in Big Pharma that's offering people a toxic solution to something that could be easily addressed. However, before we can address it, Brother Rock, most people don't even know what high blood pressure is. Most people live in most people, they just get it and then take a pill without understanding that there's actually 3 components that goes into your blood pressure being high.
And maybe you had planned to just jump right into it, but I really want to go fundamentally, Nate. Sort of, like the book that used to be, used to say English for dummies, Spanish for dummies. I think that it is worth us here today as we talk about this silent killer is to kind of go one-on-one, classroom 101. So if you would share with us those 3 components of high blood pressure, and Lord knows there's several other things I want to ask, including I hear you talk about the high blood pressure medicine being toxic, and I want to try to have our audience to understand when they are taking high blood pressure medicine as opposed to what is potentially a better solution and natural at the same time, the effect of that high blood pressure medicine, that prescription medicine. But if you would break down first, please, the 3 components of the silent killer, high blood pressure.
Yes, sir. So there's 2. So you have 2 numbers. Your top number is systolic. The systolic, that's when your heart is pumping. The heart is a pump. Okay. And when it pumps, it is pushing blood throughout your body, blood that is supposed to be carrying nourishment throughout the body. So that's the top number on your blood pressure reading. Okay, that's the pumping it out. The bottom number is the diastolic. That's when the blood is returning to the heart chambers to be cleaned out and then redistributed. That's your diastolic. So that's during the resting phase of the heart. So the heart pumps, that's the top number. When it relaxes in between beats, that's your bottom number. And that's the system of distributing blood and then bringing and cleaning blood out. That's the heart's job. It is the hardest working muscle in the entire body. That's key to understand, that the heart is a muscle just like your bicep. Now, when your blood, so the heart is supposed to pump effortlessly. It's supposed to pump, and that water and that blood is supposed to rush through your body like water with nourishment to fuel every organ and every limb of your body. When that process gets inhibited, that's the definition of high blood pressure. And here are the three elements. The first reason why your blood pressure is high, because your heart, the muscle, is weakening. Your heart is weakening, and that's not good because that can lead to heart failure. That's why blood pressure is the leading cause. So why is your heart weakening? Well, several things. Most of our people are overweight, obese. And that excess fat, understand that whatever fat you can squeeze on the outside, that is your subcutaneous fat. There's an even more dangerous fat on the inside of the body that surrounds your organs called visceral fat. So fat is on the inside and it's squeezing the heart. And so the heart is having a hard time pumping. Because just imagine, Brother Rock, if I put you inside of a small container and you can't even stretch out. That's your heart. Yeah. So many people, you are suffocating your own heart. That's the first reason why your blood pressure is high. The second reason why your blood pressure is high is because your blood is thickening. The blood is supposed to run like water. When you have high blood pressure, your blood the blood flow has slowed down to where it's becoming a glue-like substance versus a water-like substance. Why? Why is your blood thickening? And then that makes the heart have to work harder. So your heart that's already being squeezed by fat, and this is shooting up your systolic, is already overworked, and now it has to deal with blood that has become thick. Why? Well, what are you putting in your blood? We are what we eat. We're putting too much cholesterol in our blood, saturated fat, processed foods, processed oils. We're loading our blood up with thickening agents. And these thickening agents is thickening our blood, and that's causing the heart to have to overwork. The third reason why your blood pressure is high is because your blood vessels themselves are cracked. The blood vessels have become damaged. So the blood vessels, Brother Rock, that's like the highway. So like today, we were driving to the car rental shop. Imagine if we were driving and we start coming across a bunch of lumps and cracks in the highway. That would have made our drive miserable, because a vehicle, and that's what's going on in your blood. When you have high blood pressure, your blood vessels are becoming cracked and damaged. And that's why. And so all of this, the heart is overcompensating for visceral fat, thickened blood, and damaged blood vessels by pumping harder, and harder. And if it keeps pumping harder, and harder, that shoots your blood pressure up, the diastolic up, and then eventually you're going to have heart failure. And now, what I've just described, as I turn it back over to you, Brother Rock, that process I described, literally we could go over about 40 different cardiovascular diseases, which is why it's called the silent killer.
Man, oh man, that was a very graphic description, and it certainly sounded to me like a very accurate. You just painted a very accurate picture, and I'm thinking now, again, just about yesterday, July the 4th, on a day that has become a tradition, where we consume things, as you just spoke of, the saturated fats that are in animal product. You know, I just heard something came up on TikTok where Spike Lee was doing an interview, and it was in part great praise of Denzel Washington. And he talked about Denzel's preparation to play Malcolm X in the movie, and how he so got into the Malcolm X character that there were times when Denzel's eyes were glazed over when he was doing the speech, where he wasn't Denzel, he was Malcolm. And that he didn't consume any alcohol. He didn't consume any tobacco. He didn't smoke anything. He cut out pork. And that's when Spike Lee said, now that's Denzel. That's Denzel. Shorty, who was Spike Lee's character, he said, Shorty still had to have his bacon, still had to have his ham, still had to have them pig feet.
All right.
And so when I connect that to yesterday's bombardment of the things that are cooked out on the grill in the charcoal and all of that, and I think about you describing those of us who are overweight, those of us who have the visceral fat, those of us who don't do enough exercise. So therefore, our poor hearts are pumping the way that, you know, you see it pumping, that I would like to really stay here for a moment so that our viewing audience can really get that full message, because when it says heart disease, high blood pressure is the silent killer,
Yes.
we who are not doing what we should do in terms of exercising and practicing healthy heart activities, not exercising and over consuming so much of what we shouldn't have, what are we doing? We are killing ourselves.
Yeah.
And part of the reason, we well know, is advertising works, and it works magnificently.
Yes.
It's hard to spend 10 minutes in your life without some kind of way being bombarded with garbage that is not good for us, and we succumb to the advertisement, and we don't take care of ourselves, and we allow the silent killer. We contribute to the silent killer killing us. And to anybody who might be, you know, looking for a feel-good story during this broadcast, the only feel-good story you're going to get is communication for all of us to try to do better. I mean, we must take a very sober and somber assessment of our community, of our people's health status. All of you know, if you're rigorously honest, that you look around at our families and you see a lot of fun, you see a lot of laughter, and you see a lot of avoidance of what is the truth.
Yes.
Because
Amen.
the truth is, when we look and see all of the fatness, we are watching a steady decline of health that leads to death. So I want to encourage you guys, stay tuned here, listen, pay attention, not just pay attention, but to do something about this silent killer. Let's slay that dragon.
Yes.
Nate.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind sharing, I know that you've done this somewhere before. I think a couple of people I've talked to recently asked the question, what motivated you? What got you started on this journey? And as we talk about the silent killer, the story I've heard you tell about your father, I think is a great lead in to share and to explain to the viewing audience how you became so committed to this issue of health and wellness.
Because my father was killed by the silent killer. My father was killed because if you don't address your blood pressure, and he was on about 30 different medications. And if you don't address your blood pressure, you're going to have stroke, because the analogy of, because the whole highway system is designed based on the cardiovascular system. And when that highway becomes damaged and cracked, they send in the construction workers. And so if you're driving down the road and it's damaged and the construction workers come, it causes a blockage in traffic. That is exactly what happens in your heart. It is amazing how we don't think about these things. So just like when you're driving and construction crew comes and will stop traffic because you can't run them over, in your heart, in your blood vessels, that is a clot. When your blood vessels become cracked, white blood cells come and clump together to repair the damage, but that stops the traffic of blood flow. That causes that's a clot. And then when that blocks blood flow to your heart, that is a thrombose that causes a heart attack. If that clot breaks off and travels up, so if the construction crew moves up to your brain, in a spot in your brain, and blockage happens in the brain, traffic can't come through, that is called an embolic stroke, or an ischemic stroke. And my father had 9 of those, because when a stroke happens, it damages your brain, which controls the central nervous system and drastically affects your movement. And so I'm seeing my father, the late great pastor Eddie Jordan Jr., I'm seeing him eat in a manner, and this is one of the podcasts we'll talk about that I know is really going to be explosive. He was eating in a manner that his religion taught him was okay, that as long as you prayed over the food, you could eat all the pork chops, buttered mashed potatoes, fried catfish, spaghetti, and meatballs, and drink all the soda that you want. And when I witnessed him suffering from strokes and all of his brothers, I, at the time, was on the police department, and from me following the way that my father taught us was okay to eat, I had ballooned up to 265 pounds as a police officer. And for those who never seen me, and I don't think you never seen this picture, Brother Rock, this is me at 260 pounds as a police officer.
You full right there. You filling
that
shirt up.
And so that's where I was at, and that's where I was at when I started. When I was that size, my father, he had around 3 strokes, and my blood pressure became high. And when my blood pressure got high, I had enough sense, Brother Rock, to know I'm not even gonna make it to 40 if I don't make a change from what I see in my father and in his brothers. And so that's what fueled my journey. And eventually, of course, my father, when I started to learn, what really drives my passion now is learning, was when I learned that the food that was causing my father's stroke, that causes blood pressure, that they are putting drugs in it to make it more addicting than heroin. That is what angers me to this day, because we have good-hearted people and their brains are being manipulated by multi-million-dollar sorcerers that are putting drugs in food that is more addicting than heroin. And
if I can jump in there, because I made a note while you were talking. I just was reflecting about something. My wife is a few years older than me, and she looks 30 years younger. And I'm no question about it. It is her health regimen that has given her that kind of fitness and appearance. And I remember her saying to me at one point, she had not had French fries from a fast food place in like a very long time, like some years. And I was going there to get a sandwich, something with no cheese, and I've never liked cheese. So one, a burger, and of course, some fries. And it was later. It was more like 8:30 in the evening. Something had gone on, and I hadn't had any kind of a reasonable dinner or anything. So I asked. I said, "Well, let's do this. Um, let's get a large fry. I'll get a large fry, and you can share as opposed to having to get two." So I got that large fry, and they came in, and I was looking for some fresh fries, hot out the grease. But man, they were so like browned or whatever it was. And she said, "I just can't do it, and you shouldn't do it either." I said, "Well, okay. I mean, you want me to go back and get some more?" She said, "No, they're cooking those French fries in rancid oil."
Wow.
It, so, if for those again who are listening, if you can sort of go through, you talked about sorcery. That takes me right to the thought of those French fries,
Yeah.
because as bad as they are, you want to go back again. You eat them, and you want to go back 2 days later, if not the next day. So what is it about this thing about the sorcery? One, if you can break down sort of why that fast food French fry is so terrible.
Yes.
And attached to that, the sorcery that you're talking about.
Yes. So that French fry, please like and share, brothers and sisters. Exit the chat, like this video. If you know anybody that has high blood pressure, we ask you to share. Anybody that has high blood pressure that you know, family and friends, please share this video. Perhaps it can save their life, and hit the like button. Thank you very much. And make sure you subscribe to the Rock Newman Show 2.0. That French fry didn't start that way. It started as a whole potato that grew from the ground. That
somewhere
God
in the
created.
ground. Somewhere in the ground.
Yeah, it started from the earth. It started as something natural. When it was in its natural state and you consumed that potato, it would give you a myriad of health benefits, and it was packed with fiber and nourishment that would fulfill you, satisfy you in a healthy manner without driving addiction. What the sorcerers do, they take that potato from its natural state and they knowingly remove the fiber and the nutrients from it. Because when you take what God created and you remove the nourishment and the fiber, you now have turned it into something that is addictive, because now you reduce it down to its bare sugar essentials by removing the fiber and the nutrients. The process of taking a whole potato and turning it into a McDonald's French fry, that processing is no different than if you watch a movie about drug dealing and they show the people inside of the dope house actively making the drugs. Heroin starts from an opioid plant. It's actually a green plant. You can grow it in your backyard. If you keep it as the plant, there's nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, it has some medicinal benefits. But you take it and you process it down and you remove all of the nourishment. That's what creates that white powder. That's the same with white sugar, crack, cocaine. All illicit drugs that people are addicted to started from a plant. So that is why the potato, that is the sorcery process that they do. So the food industry is nothing but high-level drug dealing. This is manufacturing drugs and calling it food. It's no different. It's drug dealing. Going to McDukey's or McDonald's, is no different than going, the people that know it's killing them, but they can't stop going and getting those McDonald's French fries is no different than the heroin addict going in the middle of the night to the street corner and getting his fix. It is literally the same thing, and both processes are giving the brain the same pleasure. The only difference is that one is shunned by society and religion, and the other addiction is accepted and promoted by society and especially religion. That's the only difference. But biologically, Brother Rock, there is no difference whatsoever.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if we were living in a society that really and had a government that really cared about its people, they would make the making of crack cocaine and the making of some of this other type of similar crack cocaine food, they simply would make that illegal. So folks, so the difficult or the not so difficult, intellectually, we know that when we consume these fast foods, when we consume, as I learned from Nathaniel, the standard American diet, we are consuming lots, and we're voluntarily consuming lots of poison. Nate, you mentioned earlier today that the cravings often come for this food that produces the silent, that is one of the foundations of the silent killer. Often is produced by these sorcerers, and that we have in our gut parasites which intellectually, cerebrally, we know that we shouldn't be taking that next bite of whatever the garbage is, but that we have parasites that are overcoming our reasoning. Can you speak to that, please?
Yes, sir. Parasitic infection that builds in the gut when we eat frankenfoods, when we eat processed foods and animal protein, when we eat these poisonous substances, it builds parasitic infection. This is literally living beings, worms that build in the gut, life forms that come in the colon, that's built from the consumption of junk food that takes over the brain, driving vicious cravings. And if those are not dealt with, if those are not expunged, if you do not actively seek solutions to kill the parasites and the eggs that they hatch, you will not be able to overcome the Satanic American diet. The Satanic American diet has to be addressed as seriously as heroin addiction. If you don't take the same steps in overcoming your food addiction as you do a heroin addiction, you won't make it. And parasitic infection, a focus on killing parasites is critical. Candida albicans is just one of the most popular ones. There's thousands of different parasites. Most of them, they have given them 50, 60, let alone names that I won't attempt to pronounce here. The point is that we have to make a concerted effort to kill those parasites. And fortunately, I have found the Minister of Wellness Ministries. We have partnered with Zuma Nutrition, the Minister of Wellness.com. By the way, for those who see that pop-up box, if you register your email, you get a free copy of my Biblical Principles Health ebook on the Minister of Wellness.com. But this is Zuma Nutrition. This is a parasite detox killer on the ministerofwellness.com. I will put the link in the chat, but you can simply go to the ministerofwellness.com under store, and you can purchase it through the website. And I have used this to great success. The parasite detox that you see it contains 3 powerful herbs that kills not only the parasites, but the eggs. As a matter of fact, I think my package is supposed to be coming in tomorrow, because I'm a big proponent that this is something we all need to actively focus on. Black walnut oil, clove oil, and wormwood oil are 3 of the powerful herbs that God created that directly kills parasites. So I encourage everyone, this is one that I've used and I recommend, and you can go and click to the ministerofwellness.com and get your parasitic detox package. Put in the promo code Black Health, and it'll give you 20% off and gives credit to the ministry. That's Black Health for the Zuma Nutrition. So yes, sir, we must focus on killing parasites.
Okay, let me go back to something where we started about the silent killer, where you jumped right in and talked about the damaging effects of some of the prescriptions that the cardiologist, your general practitioner, whatever, might describe for high blood pressure. And you talked about the damage that those drugs will do. So if you're sitting and talking to an experienced cardiologist, which certainly I've had the personal experience of having slightly elevated and more than slightly elevated high blood pressure.
Yes.
And in both cases, or in several times, there has been medicine, high blood pressure medicine prescribed, suggested. And so if that cardiologist was debating you about, here's what this high blood pressure medicine, here's how it's going to help this patient, what would be your response to say? I'm sure you're good intentioned with what you know. Let's take that for granted for right now, for the sake of this argument. However, Dr. So-and-so, if that same patient would refuse to take that high blood pressure medicine, we have either formulas, we have a strategy, we have a nutrition regimen that would serve that patient better than your high blood pressure medicine. What would your prescription be?
Well, I would tell the cardiologist that all you have to do is a basic Google search, and it tells you the dangers of taking blood pressure drugs: cough, diarrhea, constipation, dizziness, or lightheadedness, erection problems. And a lot of people take blood pressure drugs. Yeah, I know that will catch you. Ain't that something?
Because I was going to say,
right.
Did I hear you say erection problem?
Yes. Yes.
So in that case, men, y'all, broham. If you're taking high blood pressure and your stuff ain't right, and your man ain't standing up like he should stand up, listen to the Minister of Wellness, Nathaniel Jordan. I'm here to tell you.
That's a doggone shame. Now, high blood pressure is a sign of cardiovascular disease. So why in the world would they be giving people a drug that will perpetuate erectile dysfunction, which is a cardiovascular disease? Then dizziness or lightheadedness, brother. I don't want to step over that one. That's important, because a lot of people over the age of 65 on blood pressure drugs, they end up getting lightheaded and falling and breaking their hips.
Yeah.
That's a very important one, and that affects a lot of people. Millions of people get broken hips from taking drugs that make them lightheaded. Nervousness. So feeling nervousness, that could lead to you getting put on anxiety drugs. tired, weak, drowsy, lack of energy. So now you don't feel like exercising. So now you just get fatter, which means your blood pressure increase. See, this is sorcery. This is evil. This is so the cardiologists, they won't stand a chance. And that's why they wouldn't. I mean, it's ridiculous. So no.
Okay. So you're giving, you know, a passionate explanation of why one should consider not taking that high blood pressure medicine. I'm asking you, what is your prescription in terms of what someone should do to try to help eradicate and bring down their high blood pressure?
Yes, sir. The red fruit fast. The red fruit fast. And there are many that are tuning in. And by the way, we over 200. Please like and share, family. If you know somebody with blood pressure, which we all do, will you please share this video with them? I'm about to go into the solution now on how to quickly reverse your high blood pressure. First of all, I reversed high blood pressure, and that was on vegetables. Okay, I reversed my high blood pressure, and it took me about 6 weeks to reverse my high blood pressure. Of course, I ended up losing, 165 pounds, and I went from 260, and at the height, I went all the way down to 160. Okay, I have a quicker way for all of you all tuning in to reverse your high blood pressure. You can do it a lot faster than me, and that's by going on the red fruit fast. And that will reverse your high blood pressure relatively quick. Those red fruits, so red fruits such as red grapes with the seed, cherries, watermelon.
Oh Lord, I was wishing you would say watermelon. Ain't no shame to my game of loving watermelon.
Yes, sir. And freshly squeezed beet juice. Freshly squeezed beet. How did that beet juice taste, by the way?
It was outstanding.
Yes, freshly squeezed.
It was outstanding.
So freshly squeezed beet juice, and a eating style, a fast consisting of red fruits, and what I am witnessing, and some in the chat can verify. For those of you who have used the Minister of Wellness red fruit fast, let us know in the chat. Let us know that you've used the red fruit fast to quickly reverse your high blood pressure. Usually only takes about 7 to 14 days at most with the red fruit fast to reverse the blood pressure.
And I'd like to chime in here because we are so cultured and so conditioned to look at you cross-eyed talking about going on a fast of, red fruits and just fruit, period, where we are so far beyond understanding that there may well be benefit to doing this. Because I'm like, well, man, I mean, we got to have some filet mignon, don't we? Okay, well, how about if we do the chicken and fish? We just gotta have something. No, we don't. You point out something very fundamentally sound about the strong gorilla.
Yes.
Who gets big and strong from the vegetables and the fruit that he eats. And so if we could kind of think and get out of our own way sometime about what we're used to and how we've been told, we need this crap. We need this dead animal flesh. And that, you know what? Each of us can survive just with this. If this was put before us here and we ate this for a 2-week period of time.
Ooh, you feel amazing.
Just think about this. It's 2 weeks to address something that can kill you and to avoid the side effects of these drugs that cause you so many other maladies. Now, who wants to debate that it's not worth it to at least try this here? Hey, at the end of the day, we make our own decisions. But who is willing to try? Who's willing to take the lead in the family? Is it the younger brother? Is it the grandma? Is it the aunt? Who can change? We talk so much about diseases that are hereditary. Right, Nate? We talk about that, about disease being hereditary. When in reality, I've seen some of your success stories of people whose families had diabetes, had heart disease. There was a change. But when someone took the initiative to break the mold, to step out of this death trap into freedom, they became healthy again, and they didn't have what the family had anymore. So that is one of the things you can observe to kind of crush this myth of family history, of hereditary disease. Am I speaking out of school?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, because look at me and many who are in the chat room. Matter of fact, Mama Jones is in the chat right now. She's going to be there September 16th, and I definitely want you to meet her. That's our 74-year-old elder who reversed extreme rheumatoid arthritis fruit fasting.
And if we could stay there on Mama Jones just for a moment, who I've not yet met, just in case you all think that anything is contrived. I haven't met Mama Jones yet. But if she is testifying and giving the testimony that she has reversed to any degree rheumatoid arthritis, any kind of arthritis you have, man, is something that you don't want, something that keeps us in pain. It keeps us from having the kind of joint freedom. So our joints, what is arthritis and rheumatoid issues? It's about locking us up. It's about, you getting out the floor, getting up in the morning and your ankle hurting for no reason and your knee being stiff and you can't put your shoe on because you can't get your knee up. That's arthritis. And for Mama Jones at 74 years old, hey, Nate, tell us about exactly what she did.
Yeah, so she went on a fruit fast consisting of grapes, citrus fruits, berries, and melons. Those are the three classes of fruits that we want to focus on. The grapes and citrus fruits are the astringent fruits that pull that hardened mucus and pus out of our blood vessels and out of our organs and our bones. Then the berries are the antioxidants that kill toxins, and those melons, featuring the watermelon, hydrate the cells. When you combine those, it provides an incredible, miraculous healing effect in the body. And Mama Jones did it for 30 days, and her hands went from being so balled up she couldn't even juice, and now she's a juicing machine. And she'll be coming in from Detroit, Michigan, to be there with us September 16th, Washington, D.C. It's incredible. And she has started a senior citizens wellness group, and now there's seniors 65 and older from all over the nation. The group is growing rapidly. So it is, I'm honored to be able to have it. And I do want to, real quick, I want to, Brother Rock, somebody left a comment. This sister here said, Jesus Christ is my healing savior, and I live a healthy lifestyle too. I encourage you, sister, every Saturday, I encourage you to tune in on the Minister of Wellness YouTube channel in the morning, because I have a Bible study where I show that, yes, I agree that Jesus is our healer and savior, but Jesus has a specific way that we have to eat, because if we don't eat according to the instructions of the Bible, my father loved Jesus with all his heart, soul, and mind, along with a whole lot of people that I know. and they have suffered and died horrible deaths because they were not eating the way that the Bible commands us to eat. And so I just wanted to pinpoint that because, as you know, Brother Rock, that's a soft spot in my heart when people talk about Jesus and God and the Bible when it relates to eating and health. The Bible is the greatest health book in the world, and my whole ministry is dedicated to bringing that truth out. So I encourage everyone to tune in to the services that we have as I show exactly what the Bible instructs us to be eating and consuming. But thank you for your comments, sister.
You know, Nate, I still want to stay with Mama Jones for a second, and since you have communication with her,
this is her too. Yes,
have a race. That's her.
Yes, Mama Jones. You wanted to come on, or we're going?
Well, here's what I would like to do, whether it's now or at some point in the future. I would like to use this kind of tangible result from real people for them to speak in their own voice about what has happened. Because that, to me, that's the real deal. So, Mama Jones, if you don't mind, please join us at some point. And if you got a minute now to share, you got a few minutes now to share your story, please do.
Yeah, I just put the link in for you, Mama Jones. If you have time to hop on real quick. If not today, then we'll be on every Wellness Wednesday leading up. And remember, family, September 16th, I do want to emphasize it will not be live streamed. We're encouraging all of us to do like we used to do 10 years ago. When you know that something revolutionary was happening, you made your way there. So please, the ministerofwellness.com health seminars, make your way to Washington, D.C. It will not be live streamed. But Mama Jones, I put the link in there. Let us know if you're able to today. If not, then we do have other one. I knew this would be a jam-packed show because we almost at an hour, but this is the big killer right here, Brother Rock. So high blood pressure, I mean, it's just so popular that our people are popping these pills like candy and then wondering why we're having a erectile dysfunction industry. And we have so many blood pressure drug recalls.
Hey, Nate, so I want to ask a basic question. It's just curiosity to me. If in fact, and I know this has been proven that, and because you hear guys saying sometimes, man, I'm taking that damn high blood pressure medicine, and Willie won't stand up like we want Willie to stand up. So if it does that to men, are you aware of whether or not it has any kind of effect on a woman's libido or her sexual desires, performance, or whatever?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If it's affecting men's reproductive system, then it's affecting women in the area of infertility and decreased libido. That's an epidemic in our women because our women have too much testosterone and too much estrogen, both of them. And then remember, one of the side effects of high blood pressure that we saw was it makes you tired. If you're tired, you're not going to exercise. If you're tired and have lightheadedness, you're not going to work out. And unfortunately, we have an 85% obesity rate among our Black women, which will be the title of one of our shows where we're going to focus specifically on obesity. So yes, the blood pressure is destroying men's ability to have an erection, and it's destroying women's ability. And also how blood pressure drugs are directly linked to breast cancer. And so Mama Jones, she says she can't come on now. We'll be honored to next time.
Okay. And it would be our honor to have you, sister. Very much so. So Nate, we need to wrap this up. We got another 2 minutes.
Okay.
I guess I would just ask you to recap. Man, this subject, the silent killer, it's just not enough. We can't ring the alarm bell loudly enough, beloved. This is not some game that any of us are trying to play here. There is the effort from our small corner of the world of trying to help the health of our community and to save some lives. Nate, I'll leave you to wrap it up about the silent killer.
Yes, the silent killer. If you want to reverse your high blood pressure, brothers and sisters, get on the red fruit fast. Make sure you subscribe not only to the Rock Newman Show 2.0, but also the Minister of Wellness YouTube channel. The Minister of Wellness YouTube channel. I have a 20-minute video on exactly how to do the red fruit fast to reverse your high blood pressure. Also, tonight, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be doing free health coaching. So come on there and I'll give you free health coaching, teach you about the fast. Make sure you visit theministerofwellness.com. I do have a powerful high blood pressure herbal extract and the dose seaweed. You combine those with the fruit, with the red fruit fast, and that can help expedite your results. That's theministerofwellness.com, theministerofwellness.com.
Folks, that's going to wrap us for today at the Rock Newman Show 2.0. Thanks for tuning in. And as Nathaniel requested, I very much would appreciate for you to like the Rock Newman Show 2.0, spread the word, get your subscription, subscribe to the Rock Newman Show 2.0, and we're going to continue this. There have been those that constantly tell us, you know, you're whistling past the graveyard, and we're like, you know what? We want to save people from going to the graveyard. If we can save one person, then our mission will be worthwhile. Amen. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you the next time on the Rock Newman Show 2.0.
All right. Shalom.